This week we had an 8-person tag team street fight, a fatal 4-way match for the #1 contendership for the Intercontinental title, and because the show's in Calgary, we got the return of Bret the Hitman Hart to the WWE. Welcome everybody to my review of this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. To anyone that's new, welcome to the Wrestling with Eddie YouTube channel where we do Raw, SmackDown, and PLE reviews and some prediction videos and whatever else I feel like talking about. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, comment what you thought of this week's episode of Raw, give the video a thumbs up, it helps the YouTube algorithm. And now let's talk about the season premiere episode. What does that even mean? Anyways, here's a breakdown segment by segment of tonight's show. So the show started off with the Wyatt 6 facing American Made in a 4-on-4 street fight. And this was a great match that didn't feel like a season premiere. Definitely felt like a season finale in my opinion. I really hope this feud is done because Chad Gable has lost enough matches. Split these groups up and let's do some new stuff with them. But tonight's street fight was actually really good. A couple weird spots with Chad Gable in there. There was a spot that he ran the ropes towards Joe Gacy, and Joe Gacy had a garbage can on him, and I'm not too sure what was the point, but Chad just went chest first into the garbage and fell down in pain. So I have no idea what that spot was supposed to be, but it looked like it hurt Chad a lot and was definitely not what was planned. Chad had another couple awkward spots. There was one point where he went up the ropes and it felt like he was slipping off. There was another spot outside that he felt like something was a little bit off for him in this night. But overall, an excellent match still. I really enjoyed it. The Wyatt 6 won after Uncle Howdy came in and hit the Sister Abigail on Julius Creed, I want to say, and then the rest of the Wyatt 6 hit their big finish on Brutus, I think, or no, Chad, and then got the pin there. So good way to start the show, but again, promoting this as season premiere was a little weird considering this is the end of this rivalry. Then, surprisingly, out of nowhere, Joe Tessitore, the new commentator, announced that Raw is going to be 2 hours instead of 3 hours starting October 7th all the way until the end of the year. So we have like 3 more Monday Night Raws are going to be a full 3 hours, and then every episode of Raw is actually only going to be 2 hours from 8 to 10. I didn't see any kind of announcement. This was very, like, I had to go back. I was watching it live and I had to like go back and double check that he actually said it. Very weird way to announce it just randomly in the middle of like a transition. I wanted to mention it here, so for you guys who are watching Raw, it's going to be 2 hours for all of October, November, and December before it gets to Netflix in January. I'm excited to see how Raw is on 2 hours. I've gotten used to the 3 hours, and I feel like they've been jam-packing the 3 hours for a while now, but I'd love to know what you guys think of a 2-hour Raw starting October. Is that positives or negative, considering the show's actually been really good lately? I'd love to know, so tell me in the comments what you think of that. The next segment on the show was Finn Balor coming out to cut a promo about Damian Priest, explaining again why he turned on Damian, how he should be champion and Damian stopped him from being a champion a year ago, and that it's his fault that the whole Judgment Day broke up. Then he called out Damian Priest, which Priest came out asking him what does he want, and Finn Balor challenged him to a one-on-one match for Bad Blood, which also, forgot to mention, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley also got announced to have a women's World Heavyweight Championship match at Bad Blood as well. Damian Priest, of course, accepted the challenge, and then all of Judgment Day came out to attack Damian Priest. Rhea Ripley came out to make the save, but unfortunately Liv Morgan came out and attacked her. So all of Judgment Day destroyed Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley until Jey Uso made the save, but it was a little bit too late. They were defeated. They got sent to the local medical facility like they always do at the end of these promotions. There were a couple other Judgment Day related stuff, so I'll just go through all of it now because I do think that today's episode did a good enough job to salvage how buried the Judgment Day were for the last couple weeks. And I talked about last week how I was very disappointed in the Judgment Day's booking. Today was a very good one, but they got to do this every single week, because if it's just a one-off to like satisfy us and then Damian Priest and Rhea just destroy them next week again, it was kind of pointless. But today, I'm just going to look here real quickly. Finn and the Judgment Day destroyed Damian and Rhea. Later down on the show, Dirty Dom beat Dragon Lee in a good match. And of course, Dirty Dom and Judgment Day attacked everybody. And then Finn, he technically lost to Rey Mysterio, but that's because he was doing a single leg Boston Crabs in the ropes, and the referee counted to 5, and Finn Balor refused to let go, which hurt Rey Mysterio. He got disqualified, so Rey got the win via DQ, but Finn Balor did finish on top and destroyed him even after the match. And then at the end, right before the main event, we did have a final Judgment Day promo where they called out Damian Priest, Liv Morgan, and as well the New Day, because New Day are going to fight them for the tag team titles next week on Raw. I thought Judgment Day looked great today, and I really hope they're able to continue this momentum at least until Bad Blood, because they really, really need it. But big thumbs up on at least trying to make them look good this week. Next up, we had the Women's Tag Team Championship on the line, where Jade and Bianca were defending against Alba and Ilja again. This match was not as good as their PLE match in Bash in Berlin. I don't see the point of this match. Jade and Bianca won, and again, I hope this is not an actual season premiere, and I feel like this was a season finale, and I hope that this is it, and Jade and Bianca move on to something else, and they got to start rebuilding Alba and Ilja for the future, which they did have a little segment later on where Damage Control were talking about how they want the championship next, but we saw this as well. So again, don't know what they're trying to do, but I'm not, again, I feel like I'm saying this every week. I'm not enjoying the women's tag team division. They have great teams, but start putting new people in the matches here. Forgot to mention this, super unrelated. We had a quick backstage segment with LWO, and I swear to God, I thought they had a new member because they had Whack and Wild, Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, Zelina Vega, and another guy. I was like, who the heck is this guy? And then I looked it up, and it's Cruz del Toro. He just shaved, and he looks like a completely different man. If you guys are not watching Raw, go look up Cruz del Toro, pictures on Google, and then go see what he looked like yesterday. It is too drastically, a difference a beard can make is wild. Unrelated, I figured it would be fun for you guys to go check it out though. Then we had a segment with Bret Hart coming out because it's in Calgary, and man, does the crowd in Calgary love Bret Hart. And look, I'll be the first to say, if you guys know me, I talk about it on Twitch all the time. If you're not already, come follow us on Twitch. But I've talked about how I am kind of sick and tired of hearing Bret the Hitman Hart complain about Bill Goldberg every single time he's on a podcast, in an interview, or anything like that. So I'm not the biggest Bret Hart fan currently. I didn't watch him growing up, so all I know of him is him complaining about everything. So I was excited to have like, oh, well, Bret's coming out. We're not going to hear the name Goldberg today, so he's not going to get triggered. And of course, we had Gunther come out, and Gunther talking about how Bret was the best or was, but he is the best or is, and the best or ever will be in the future. And that he was saying that he respects Bret Hart, and he thinks he's the second greatest of all time, just behind Bill Goldberg, which I thought was an excellent way to trigger him in there. Sami Zayn came out, we had a huge pop there, and then Sami challenged Gunther again. They had a bit of a brawl, and it ended with them just kind of, again, setting up the future. I'm gonna say, look, this is just me. I'm not a big fan of Bret Hart, but even in this segment, he didn't look like he wanted to be there. Every time it cut to him, you can see when he hugged Sam, he asked him, like, can we go to the back now? Like, I swear you could see him asking if we should go to the back. He did not want to be there. I don't know. It didn't work for me. It worked for the pop for the crowd, I guess, but it really felt like this could have worked without him, so whatever. Then we had Pure Fusion Collective in a 6-women tag team match against Zelina Vega, Lyra Valkyria, and their surprise partner from Calgary, Natalya. Boy, did no one see that coming. If you go back and see last week's episode, I said the same thing. What a pointless thing to do. In my opinion, this is not a good thing because Zelina, Lyra, Natalya won the match. Great. What are you guys going to do next week when you're not in Calgary and you don't have Natalya? The whole point of this was that Zelina and Lyra was like, we need to defeat them. And the only reason they won was because they're in Calgary. But technically, storyline-wise, without Natalya, they're screwed. So what are they going to do every week after this? Whatever. Pure Fusion Collective needed this win, especially because Jade and Bianca need more challenging. Like, this is what I've been complaining about the whole time. Who are you building to fight Jade and Bianca? Is it going to be Zelina and Lyra? Because they're not a tag team. But Pure Fusion Collective are being built as a team. Are they not going... Oh man, I don't know. This is getting very frustrating. I'm not enjoying this women's tag team division. Let's move on to some things that I actually do really like, and that's Drew McIntyre. He came out all smiles and everything, complaining about CM Punk, but once again saying that he is now officially done and he's ready to move on. And then he started insulting and aiming everything at Wade Barrett, his close friend. Basically saying to Wade that he's one of his only friends he has left in the WWE, but he needs to get out of his way because Wade Barrett has been every single time trying to control Drew and preventing him from making things worse. Really like this little tension here. I don't know if they're planning on having Wade Barrett wrestle again. I was a huge Wade Barrett fan from the Nexus, so I'd be down to see him in the ring again. Maybe that's like the next rivalry for Drew, or this is just kind of a one-off. Very exciting there. But then Adam Pearce came out and basically announced officially now we are getting Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood, which we all saw coming, but I'm happy it's official, and I'm very excited for this. It's going to be a great way to end this feud. Then we had a quick backstage segment with The Miz, Karrion Kross trying to corrupt him, I guess, and then Xavier Woods coming out and telling The Miz not to listen to him, and then The Miz basically being like, yeah, I know, he's doing what I used to do, and I was like, wow, what a way to bury Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross kind of just disappeared. Miz talked about how he wants to step up and change his style and get better because he used to be a WWE champion at WrestleMania, now he's doing what he's doing, which is barely anything. Walked away, Kofi came out, and Xavier and Kofi seem to be back on the same page, and they've officially announced that they're fighting the Judgment Day for the tag team titles next week, I'm pretty sure was announced. So cool stuff there. What was the point of the Karrion Kross rivalry? Unless Xavier turns on Kofi next week, the whole Karrion Kross thing was pointless. Next up, we had our main event, which was the Fatal 4-Way match for the Intercontinental Championship match against Braun Breaker. This was Jey Uso, Ilja Dragunov, Braun Strowman, and Pete Dunne. We were so close of having a dream match, in my opinion, if you would replace Braun Strowman with Ludwig Kaiser. Go back and watch my episode review of Raw last week, and you'll see what I mean. Before this match started, I forgot to mention, throughout the whole show, they actually did something that I wish they did last week. So if you guys remember from my episode review last week, I mentioned how they had Jey Uso and Braun Breaker have a face-to-face last week, and I felt like that was not the greatest thing to do because it set up that it was too easy to guess that Jey was going to win because Braun only interacted with Jey Uso and never interacted with anyone else. Well, good thing they did this week. Looks like they watched my review last week. They actually had Braun Breaker interact with everyone throughout the whole show. He had a face-to-face with Braun Strowman backstage, he had a face-to-face with Pete Dunne, and he had a face-to-face with Ilja Dragunov throughout the show. And I thought that was a good way to set it up because I complained last week. I wish that they did all of them this week because, again, Jey Uso did win this match and it was super predictable because they've been setting it up. But at least they tried to set up that maybe the others could be winning by having Braun interact with all of them throughout the night. But they still felt like too obvious because of Jey last week. Now, this was still an excellent match. My match of the night could have been better if Ludwig was in there instead of Braun Strowman, but Braun did his part in this match for sure. I really liked every interaction across all four. Lots of really great spots. I love the final segment of it all. Bronson Reed came out and absolutely destroyed Braun Strowman, jumping on him through the table, which I thought was really good too. And then we had Jey Uso with the splash at the end to win. And of course, the setup that we all knew was coming between Jey and Braun Breaker. I don't know if this is Bad Blood or next week or in a couple weeks, but either way, I'm very excited for this match, and I thought it was a great way to end the show. So overall, I thought this week's episode was a good show. I still don't understand the point of the season premiere. That's probably my biggest pet peeve of this week's episode, because none of this felt like a premiere of anything. But looking at the card here, I thought the 8-man tag was really good. The street fight match, the 4-way was really good. All the matches overall was great. Again, my issues are the women's tag team division. I really wish they did something better here. I don't think Pure Fusion Collective should have lost. I don't think Alba and Idol should have had another match here. JD, Judgment Day, looked excellent throughout the night. So overall, lots of positive, lots of cons as well, in my opinion. So I want to give the show 7.5 out of 10. Again, I think it could be better if they just fix a couple things. I don't like the whole Calgary equals Natalya equals Bret the Hitman Hart because it just felt pointless and a lot of the segments could have happened without them. But that's also just me not being a huge fan of Bret Hart or Natalya. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very upset that I said that, especially because I am Canadian. It's like it's in your blood that you got to like Bret Hart. I was always a Shawn Michaels guy, not a Goldberg guy. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Subscribe because we're going to have our SmackDown review and other stuff on the show on the YouTube channel as well. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.